And I have the pleasure to introduce you to Ben Caudron, and I have to read it here because he has a really long title in his profession. He is the head of program at the Erasmus University for Applied Sciences, and he will talk to you about the genesis of generative grace, but I'll leave all the honors to Ben to explain what that's all about. So please give him a warm welcome.
Good morning. Who speaks Dutch? Who reads or did read Suske en Wiske? I like Suske en Wiske. That's why I came up with this title. I have to confess I'm a little bit scared because this must be one of those occasions where the people in the audience know a lot more about what's going on in the back end than I do. I'm a sociologist. I founded the first web agency in Belgium in '93 by accident, basically, but we managed to turn it into something that still exists. Unfortunately, I don't have their money, but that's okay. I went back to sociology and mixed two things: my experience in the technology sector and my love for sociology. So what I do is I take my expertise from the past and use it to address what people call technology. And I just apply some sociology, critical sociology, to whatever it is that people are talking about. Now, let's see. What about this title? What are we going to do? This is the main question. Why do people, and I should add ordinary people, why do ordinary people have a quasi-religious relationship with technology? Or they are in awe, they expect solution, the grace, or they are scared shitless because God will punish them. God will do stuff, and God, in this context, being AI. Sometimes I deliver a keynote starting with the statement, AI doesn't exist, so what the fuck are we talking about? But you know better, it does exist. In order to answer this question, I'm going to introduce a framework. And let's start with the question, what is technology? And this is the framework. Technology can be compared with a bundle of light. And people just refer to the light, but they don't do the effort, which is understandable. They don't do the effort to ask themselves the question, what is this light? Basically, you see one color, but it's not one color. You can break it down. So let's break it down. And there are 4 dimensions in technology that should be analyzed on its own, while when it appears in reality, when it emerges, you can't see them apart from the other. They are all related to each other. The first dimension is probably the dimension that most people can understand. It's the thing, the artifact. It's a microphone. The second dimension is what is called affordances. When you guys are developing, guys and girls are developing something, you have a purpose in mind. We want people to be able to do this with whatever it is that you're building. This is the affordance, or one affordance that you imagine. But we are people. As soon as you give something to someone else, they are going to do stuff that you didn't think about. everything has more affordances than you intended. And this is also something to take into account when you discuss and reflect upon technology. The third level, which is very important, is the social context. And this is a tough one, especially for my students, since they are trained to think in simple causal relations. B is a result of A. Well, in reality, nothing is truly causal. It's reciprocal. A causes B, B causes, as a consequence, a change in A. Every technology is built within a specific social context. And by entering in that social context, it changes the social context, which has implications for the next thing that is going to be developed. This social context is very important to bear in mind. And this is what is being denied by my colleagues who charge a lot more for this kind of speeches and who come with the message of deliverance. The gurus who come with a deterministic story. You should leave technology alone. Technology will save us. It won't. It might, but it's not a given. The third dimension is a plea to stop thinking about technology in a deterministic way. It's not determined. And the fourth, what are we doing right now? We are talking about technology. There is a lot more talk about technology than there is technology. And we all have imaginations. When we use the term technology, we almost permanently are referring to a discourse, a story about technology, what you can do with technology, what you can't do with technology, what the technology will have as a consequence. This is a discourse, and that discourse is being controlled by a huge industry. There used to be Wired. I think it still exists, and I think it's still a pile of crap. Basically used to sell stuff, not to ask the critical questions. Well, they do. First, they sell the stuff, and then a few years later, it becomes obvious that the stuff didn't bring the solution. So then you have the critical reviews, but it has a purpose. The purpose is not informing people, the purpose is selling. Okay. One example of such an affordance of an artifact in social context. This is a hammer. And what is a hammer? Well, basically, a hammer is something used to extend the power you can exercise with your this movement. And probably the first time people started to use something that emerged or evolved into the hammer was used to kill something else. But eventually it ended up in something that you can see below. Take the left version. I like the left version. It's a commercial picture. And this is a very good affordance of a hammer. You can use a hammer to drill something pointy into something hard. You can probably do the same with the head of your mother, but that seems like a stupid idea. You will hurt your mother and it will take a lot more time to get the nail into the wall. You can also try to write poetry with a hammer, but there are other artifacts that are better suited. A fountain pen, for example, is better suited. You can try to use a fountain pen to drill a nail into the wall, but that's the wrong affordance. You can do something constructive with a hammer. You can do something destructive with a hammer. This was the most bloody image I could find without going to gory details with pieces of brain. And then you have the right version of the hammer, where the social context is totally different. In the middle version and the left version, it is used to extend power in a literal sense. In the left version, it is used to exercise power in a symbolic sense, because it is used to indicate a decision. The decision by the judge, it's written down, it's decided. How do they call the auction master uses it, sold. So it's the same object, but it's used in a symbolic way. Okay, let's move on. Okay, let's try to apply the model, the framework of 4 layers of dimension. Let's try to apply it to what I call large language models. I'm used to refuse to use AI when people basically mean large language models. What are the artifacts? And here you will see question marks. These are just some things I came up with, as these are artifacts that are being used in order to bring something into the world that we call large language models. And what do we need right now? Something that we call neural networks, which is basically a name that I'm using now to cover a lot of different artifacts, but one has to stop at a certain level of detail. What we need is data gathering services, because without data you can't train a model. So that's something else that was needed in order to explain where we are today. And where are we today? People are amazed by something very stupid, which is called ChatGPT. But ChatGPT would never be a topic of discussion and fear in the academic world if it wasn't for the data gathering services. And what do we need as well? User-friendly platforms for people to start using it. Imagine that people would have to prompt ChatGPT with a terminal. Only a simple terminal, no graphical user interface. We wouldn't talk about it. We wouldn't use it. We wouldn't float our final papers with it. We need clients, we need add-ons, we need a lot of other pieces of technology, basically comprising some piece of software. What are the affordances? Today, text and image generation, mostly video creation. And is it useful? Yeah, it is. You can use it to automate a lot of simple things. This year, I'm already thinking in the following academic year, but this academic year was the first year where I received emails from students without errors. So that means that they use software. Their mails used to start with, yo, Now it starts with, dear professor, I hope everything is going fine. Yo. I invite my students to use that crap to come up with some inspiration. If you are in a brainstorm session, if you have to come up with some concepts to start from to build them a basic message, then why not asking the tool spit out some bullshit that we can use as a starting point for a brainstorm session? It speeds up things, and sometimes it's helpful, sometimes it's not, but sometimes it just inspires people. We can, I forgot to translate the last word. For the non-Dutch speakers, it's manipulation, ON in the end. We can use it to manipulate people. In research context, there are some very fine applications of larger language models right now, where you can enter, give me all the research papers published from 23 on that topic, summarize the main arguments, and give the discussion that's going on. That means that you can have a result in 1 hour time, where otherwise you would have to spend 3 months. I call this progress. Okay, what is a social context? I used to follow the real intelligent people in the AI sector, and what I've read and learned from them was that basically they fear yet another AI winter. Because where were the products? Where was the result? Where was AI? What's this? Another part of the social context. If an AI winter is coming up, people are stopping wasting money in the development of something. So investors ask the question that no developer wants to hear: when is it going to make money? Governments stop investing in educational programs because there is no perspective on the short term that it will turn into something tangible, into something useful. Another part of the social context is we have to regulate the regulators. You probably are familiar with the fact that Europe plays no truly significant role as a place of development of truly original technologies that turn into a big success, with some exceptions. But Europe plays a very important role in the world of technology as the origin of regulation. We had the regulation on privacy. We have now the regulation on AI. Is there someone who did the effort of studying the process of coming about of these pieces of legislation? Read it. It's very interesting, because you will see whenever the smart guys of Meta and Alphabet are coming in to help the regulators to regulate it. Very interesting thing. Another part of the social context, we have to extend our business models. Facebook can only steal so much before it starts losing to something new. So where is the money going to come from? Let's come up with new business models. In the community of real developers, there is this race to a dream and a nightmare as well at the same time. AGI, I will explain the the meaning of those AGI and ASI in a minute. On another level, there is a geopolitical, social context and military context. If we should be able at one point in time to have a kind of intelligence that supersedes human intelligence, this will have serious consequences on how power relates to each other. So for some people, the social context is a search for supremacy. It has nothing to do with technology, it's everything to do with power and a shift of power. What is the main discourse? It's determinism. And there are a number of shapes determinism comes in. You have the dystopian version. Stephen Hawking, the late Stephen Hawking, was very much a dystopian. Stop the development of AI because AI will kill us, says who? It's a dystopian, deterministic vision. And then you have the utopian vision. Well, forget about climate change and the heating of the planet. We will upload our brain and everything is solved. First of all, I hope that I'm more than just my brain. And second, I'm not going to upload my brain. I hope that one point in time, my brain stops to exist and I stop as a living thing, leaving this wonderful place or this shitty place, depending on how you look at things, to other living beings. I don't feel the need to leave something into in eternity. One very popular expression of determinism is what Yevgeny Morozov calls solutionism. Whatever the problem is, make some technology, solve it with technology. I'm into education. Since 2 years, my favorite tool of knowledge transfer, except for speaking, was the blackboard. Because you have those wipers, and with the wiper you can throw at someone's head. If they are now I have those stupid technologies. They are this size for a room for 200 people. Try to read what's on that smart board. They call it smart board. I call it stupid investment. But it will save education. It will solve all the problems of education. No, what will solve the problem of education is to give another meaning to the role of education. Basically, train better people and give the triple amount of the current investments, then we will solve education. We don't need an app to keep people motivated. No, we need people with passion, with knowledge and passion. That's what you need to save education. Solutionism has in itself also a number of different expressions. Elon Musk's idea, let's fly to Mars. Well, I hope he does, and stay there. Never come back, please. But imagine what we could do with the amount of money he's taking out of the American society. Basically, what could we do to solve the housing problem in the United States? Environmental problems. No, forget about that. That's short-term thinking. In the end, the Earth will disappear, and we humans are such an exceptional species, we have to populate the whole universe. I don't know if alien life form exists, but sometimes I hope they do. And they are waiting until we start doing that, going to Mars and say, no, no, you're a pest. Okay, where do we come from? A little history. Only 2 points, 3 points I want your attention for. It's 1964, ELIZA, and the 20 years between 71 and 90, AI winter, and then Q4 22. The joke by OpenAI. The rest are details, small steps forward. Why did we have a winter in those 20 years? Because we were stuck into a model, an approach that was very much based on pure mathematics and logic, and it didn't help us to come up with stuff that was promising enough. It was only in the 90s that we started to switch to another model based on neurological insights in how the brain works. And the idea was, oh, let's mimic the brain. And it brought back the interest in AI and the money. Okay. 64, ELIZA. This is the guy who developed ELIZA. This is Joseph Weizenbaum. And what was ELIZA? Imagine those old interfaces, black interface, green typo on the screen. ELIZA was a chatbot. You entered, I'm not feeling too well. And ELIZA gave as an output, you don't feel too well today? Question mark. So basically what Weizenbaum called therapy, psychotherapy based on the model of Rogers, which is basically just repeating what the patient just said, but adding a question mark. And after 40 minutes saying, this is $40, see you next week. He saw how people reacted to ELIZA. We are people. We have some very strong urges that we tend to neglect or to forget, to hope that we don't have them. But we feel the need to bond. Is there someone who talks to his TV? No one. You don't swear if something stupid happens on the screen? I do. We bond with stupid things, but that's okay. That's what humans do. That's what brought us here. But Weizenbaum was the first to understand that technology could be abused to fool people, taking advantage of our need, our urge to bond. That's why he left the field of development of artificial intelligence. He wrote a very important book. It's still relevant today, Computer Power and Human Reason. And I like his hairdo. Are we in a perfect storm today? Could it be that we are in a perfect storm? And what is making up that perfect storm? Computing power? Imagine the progress we made as soon as we discovered that we could use those GPUs instead of CPUs. We needed, or we have an enormous amount of data, and the data is getting better. Why do we have those data? Because we are human beings who no longer just are into the experience, but we are into capturing the experience. We will experience later on. We have a lot of money. Conehead over there, are there people who know who Conehead is? he once announced in Wired, of all places, that he was going to kill Microsoft. He built Netscape. Anyone still using Netscape? Anyone using Microsoft? Point made. But Point has a lot of money, heaps of money. And then there's the Pope. I call him the billionaire. Billionaire X. We have the gurus flying from one place to the other, convincing people, just leave us alone. Allow your governments to take your tax money and give it to me, and I will do something with it, which is basically what is happening. It's also happening over here in Belgium as we speak. Just look at the decisions made by, for example, our Flemish Prime Minister and his relationship with the healthcare sector. A source of data, a wonderful source of huge numbers of data. All right. Artificial intelligence. Okay, what are we talking about? Where are we? We are at the level of AWI, weak artificial intelligence, which means it's single purpose artificial intelligence. Those applications are way better than human beings in doing a single thing. But is this what we mean by intelligence? I don't think so. Then there is general artificial intelligence. This is what we strive for right now. And the difficulty is, what does it mean? There is no accepted definition. Does it mean an artificial intelligence that equals the intelligence of one model IQ of one person, or the totality of all the human intelligence? This is one of the discussions. There are a number of discussions going on what does it actually mean. I like the idea that a GI is an intelligence that is capable of taking in the external context, understanding the issues that are being raised by that external context, and act upon those issues without human interference, without the need to train. I think we are still a long way from AGI. I think it's possible to reach that point. And then there is super artificial intelligence. And the only sensible thing I can say about that is I can't say a sensible thing about that. It's unimaginable. An ant cannot imagine what it is to have human intelligence. We cannot imagine what such a super intelligence could be. We don't know. Where are we today? An application of weak artificial intelligence is the stochastic parrot, as Gabriel and Bender, two very important women in the business of AI, call it. The first word refers to statistics, which basically large language models is all about. It's nifty number crunching based on very complex statistical models, and it's a parrot. It doesn't know shit, but it can say words. Single purpose, as I said, it's doing a good job. In healthcare, for example, it's a wonderful thing. It helps people to spot tumors, for example. It never gets tired, and it's able to analyze on the level of pixels. So as an assisting tool, it's wonderful that we have this technology today. It's also very good in recognizing faces. because basically a phase is a number of patterns that can be described pretty well. And we all use it. We think, oh, wow, it's wonderful. I don't have to type anything into that device anymore. Just look at my face. As long as it stays on the machine, okay, but I'm not convinced. Single purpose, that is mostly fake. Everything that is based on speech recognition, it's still very hard to make it work the way it's being sold. That's probably why Alexa stopped. We have still Siri, and Apple is drumming a lot on the new thing that's coming up with Siri. I'm curious to see what they are going to do, but we have a lot of work to do in this field before it will work. A very curious thing is people tend to adjust to it. We were over for a weekend with some colleagues who have Google Home, and they started to talk in order to make the machine understand what the fuck. Okay, I like this car. Is there a millionaire in the room with some money left? I want this car. This is the level 3 autonomous car by Mercedes. Mercedes refuses to market it as a self-driving car. Tesla is one level lower. You know, Tesla, the company that is promising for the last 20 years self-driving cars in 2 years. It was 2 years. The last thing they did was build a tank nobody wants. It falls apart while you are looking at it. But this is basically a collection of a huge number of single-purpose appliances. It's not general AI. It's a collection of AWI. Coming up in the very near future, it's working. It's in prototype. It's still too heavy. You don't want to end up being killed by your sex robot because it falls over. But it's coming. This is coming. And this raises a number of ethical questions, which is, again, how technology relates to society. This was generated by unstable diffusion. You know stable diffusion? You have also unstable diffusion. It was generated with, with that tool. And something mentioned at the last keynote I gave, I was showing this slide to an audience full of Catholics. So it appeared on Twitter immediately. They just picked up one thing, the sex robot. But if you want to understand what technology is about to go open for a broad audience, just watch the porn industry. They have a very important role in getting technologies adopted. Or do you really think that we sold Polaroid in order to make pictures of nature? Okay, how can we explain Q422? This is also generated by DAL-E. It's Sam Altman. Sam Altman, who likes to present himself as a technologist. Well, he's not. He's a VC. Venture capitalist. He knows shit about technology. And he needed money. So he broke the promise of OpenAI. That's also part of the conflict there was with the board of directors who kicked him out and then took him in again in 2 weeks' time. there was this unspoken code of conduct among developers. We are going to work on the development and we are going to discuss our results in conferences, but we are not going to release it to the broad audience until we are sure that we can control the damage. No, Sam Altman said, okay, bring it out, roll it out, and spread machine-generated racism, sexism, because I don't care that the data is basically garbage, and you all know the principle: garbage in, garbage out. He also, my A's were sold out, so still the Dutch word. He gave the other companies a reason to come up with their stuff, and there's a lot of stuff coming up. I called it a stochastic parrot. Basically, what it does, it predicts the most probable outcome based on proximity of small items, words, for example. That's what it does. It doesn't know anything. So if people use it, some of my students use ChatGPT to gather insights. How stupid can you be? The thing just spits out some words based on statistics, not on information. Now, this is being changing while we speak. The models are getting better. For the people who come from abroad, this used to be a prime minister, and his party thought it's dead. His party thought that it was a fine idea. Okay. To communicate to the people that there is 5 minutes left in this speech, so I have to move on. This is Taylor Swift. Well, it's not. It's the AI version just before she was being gang raped by a football team. It's pretty realistic. Here, this is where we are today, and I hope that a lot of people recognize the big logo under Adobe Firefly, which is Copilot. Copilot is built into Edge, and it uses both the statistics of LLM, and it uses information that it gets real time from the web. So the data that is being used is getting better. Okay, move on. A plea for better thinking. Stop determinism. Stop thinking in binaries. Well, no, please go on and think in binary, but not if it's about technology as a sociological thing. It's not dystopia, it's not a utopia. What it is what we are going to make of it. People make the technological future. One of my pleas is, let's go for data commons. We own the data. The data should be available to all parties who need data to do something sensible, to facilitate true innovation, for example, which is sheer impossible today. Try to enter the market of AI development today. Just try it. And I don't mean build a user service on top of the models by OpenAI, Google, and no. Start from scratch. It's impossible. You don't have the data. We must go for public data with some level of control. And that is where you people come in, where you can play a role in making the tools for the control. Let's demand transparency in algorithms. there are some initiatives going on already, so we don't have to start from scratch. We just have to promote this. I see people making pictures. You don't have to do that. I will give a PDF version of the slide deck, and you can do whatever you want with it. I don't have a fucking clue what you people could do, but I'm sure that you can. And you tell me, how can you play a role in making sure that data is high level quality? How can you help making algorithms transparent? How can you help to build a sensible model of data commons? If you have initiatives, if you're working on stuff in this field, please let me know. Then I can use it as examples. Because people tend to say, well, this is impossible, this is a dream. You stupid. No, it can. It can happen. Just do it and let me know. Okay. Oh, this is okay. I was going to promote my upcoming book, but still it's not there yet. The working title is Brave New Code. As soon as it's out, I will let you know. You can help me make it more relevant. If you're working in this field from an open source perspective, give me the information. I will write about it. You are the people who make it work. I'm one of those guys who talk about it. I hope you liked it. I hope you learned something. If you want to get in touch, that's me. Bye. Oh, if you want to talk to my students, we don't pay any real money, but you're free to send me an idea. And if I like the idea, then I will torture my students with your lecture. Okay?